I think it's time to open the books on questions that have remained in the dark, on the question of government investigations of UFOs. It's time to find out what the truth really is that's out there. We ought to do it really because it's right. We ought to do it because the American people, quite frankly, can handle the truth. And we ought to do it because it's the law.
I'm going to ask Senator Obama a question in the same line. The 3 astronauts of Apollo 11 who went to the moon back in 1969 all said that they believe there is life beyond Earth. Do you agree?
You know, I don't know, and I don't presume to know. What I know is there is life here on Earth, and that we're not attending to life here on Earth. We're not taking care of kids who are alive and unfortunately are not getting health care. We're not taking care of senior citizens who are alive and are seeing their heating prices go up. So as president, those are the people I will be attending to first. There may be some other folks on their way. There may be some other folks on their way. There may be some other folks on their way. There may be some other folks on their way.
Will President Obama be the first one to finally open the government's secret files on UFOs?
That's the burning question at this year's International UFO Congress going on in Laughlin. UFO researchers think there's a huge volume of suppressed evidence that they think should be made public. The I-Team's George Knapp popped into the UFO conference to see what's hot.
There's a real civilian science movement happening out there.
The vendor room at any UFO conference generally represents the fun, non-serious side of the phenomena, where shoppers can fill all their UFO needs, whether it's a drum of Area 51 ooze, or blow-up aliens, alien sculptures, or an indispensable cattle mutilation calendar. Vast libraries of UFO books and UFO videos provide hints about how far and how wide the discussion has grown. For the past 19 years, Tim Crawford's company, UFO TV, has marketed this material to the world.
The interest has expanded quite a bit to encompass ancient mysteries, science controversy, political controversy. All of these topics are of interest to people who classify all of this type of information as need to know.
The phrase need to know could serve as the unofficial slogan of the UFO Congress and most other UFO gatherings. Researchers have long contended, and with good reason, that the U.S. government has withheld files and other evidence about UFOs and UFO incidents.
Do we know what's really going on the inside? I don't think so.
Nuclear physicist Stan Friedman has chased the UFO mystery for more than 40 years, although the Air Force did release some UFO files from its Project Blue Book years ago. Friedman points to the so-called Bolender Memo, an order from the Air Force that all UFO cases involving national security must be sent somewhere else. Friedman says that alone confirms that some UFO files are kept hidden. In the past few years, something called exopolitics has emerged, a disclosure movement which calls for the release of all UFO files. Proponents are encouraged by President Obama's promises of more open government. Friedman is not optimistic.
I don't think that's going to happen at all. In the first place, he's got much more important things on his plate right now. The whole planet is in sad shape. People have the wrong idea. The president knows everything. In the first place, there's too much to know. He could spend all his life reading reports. I don't think he knows. He probably doesn't have a need to know yet.
This won't discourage speakers at the UFO Congress from encouraging the new administration to pull back the curtain of secrecy and open the UFO files, as many other Western governments have done in the past 2 years. Vendors like Tim Crawford know there's an enduring public hunger for this kind of information.
Average, everyday people are asking bigger questions than the scientists.
George Knapp, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
To believers in UFOs, the truth isn't out there, it's in there. So they're calling on President Obama to end what they insist is a government cover-up of the existence of extraterrestrials.
Will you release these records? Will you release all documents?
Documents they claim exist and prove there is life in outer space.
President Obama is awfully busy these days.
I know he is.
You think he has time for this?
Well, let's say, I would say,
The fact that we are not alone in the universe is one of the more important aspects of our time.
Former Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man to walk on the moon, told the National Press Club he's convinced.
But there is convincing proof that's going to convince the entire world.
That is correct. That is what we're trying to open up.
We're about to go out and do our little hoax.
Equally committed are UFO skeptics. Earlier this year, 2 skeptics set off weather balloons that people in New Jersey mistook for alien spacecraft. The pranksters showed up on the local news, pretending to be eyewitnesses.
And all of a sudden we see these lights literally zip over our car.
They later admitted it was all a hoax and paid a $250 fine for creating a disturbance.
Again, we're not trying to prove or disprove anything, but it's okay to be skeptical.
Be open-minded, counter UFO believers, pointing to former White House Chief of Staff and former Obama transition team head John Podesta.
It's time to find out what the truth really is that's out there.
It's a question President Obama has fielded before.
The 3 astronauts of Apollo 11 who went to the moon back in 1969 all said that they believe there is life beyond Earth. Do you agree?
You know, I don't know, and I don't presume to know. What I know is there is life here on Earth, and that we're not attending to life here on Earth.
It depends on what these aliens were like, and whether they were Democrats or Republicans.